Next ChatGPT question. Let me get some water. Ay, mi amigo. Next question is, fuck, what was it? Sorry. Damn, darn, what was it? That was nasty. Fuck, what was it? Let me see if I can. Can spirituality exist without religion, or does one? No. How does one differentiate between spiritual experiences and psychological phenomena such as hallucinations or delusions? So, it's all one and the same, because what is spirituality is a misnomer, because what is spirituality? Truly, what is spirituality? It's literally whatever you make it for yourself. So, like, anyone can define spirituality for themselves however they want, right? Because that is in truth, like, what it, right? It's like, it is just life. It is just us. It's our beingness. Our body is our temple. This is our world. We can bring the Garden of Eden here, like, we can be love and express love. So, what is a delusion? Now, what's it? So I will say this: the difference between, in my experience, I've experienced delusions and hallucinations of sorts, and also felt very real spiritual experiences woven through those delusions and stuff when I was, as psychiatry defines, manic and psychotic. So I will say the delusions and hallucinations served only me. Like, it was only serving myself to, like, believe that I was Elijah the prophet. Or to believe, well, I won't say that about this next one, but stuff like, and then wanting to prove that to other people, like that delusion, regardless of its truth, like to try to force a reality on people that there's no way like that. Bro, where are you going with that? Like, there's nothing to do with that information. That's a delusion, but the tough thing with that is, like, it was very spiritual for me to experience that and, like, feel the weight of the world on me, because, like, if that was true, imagine that. Like, if you are religious or believe in Elijah or are Jewish or Christian or whatever, if that were true, like, if you were Elijah the prophet, like the prophesized Elijah the prophet, that would be insane. And, like, would be very overwhelming to have that on you. And in my experience, when I was manic and psychotic, having that delusion, it felt so real. That's why I was freaking the fuck out, bro. Because I'm like, guys, we got to do something, like, the planet needs help. But I'm just Nate, so it's silly. And I will say this: the attachment to Elijah is solely came from myself, like my ego, and, like, reading about Elijah and, like, wanting to be Elijah, that didn't come from God. But, like, the experiences I had when I was manic and psychotic were coming from, like, the sun, and I was doing yoga out there and, like, speaking in tongues and looking at the sun and, like, feeling truths that were like really real and felt and were coming from something beyond me, and so when I'm revved up like that, if I, like, when you're manic or psychotic, when you're revved up, it's like, imagine here's your tree of like how you express and like what you experience. Imagine like everything's ramped up so it goes all the way. So like all the truths that you experience, like when you have epiphanies or whatever, or have deja vu and stuff, like whenever that happens, when you have like spiritual moments, whatever you want to call it, that's an aspect. And you also have like fears, and that's an aspect. And you have like thoughts of like, oh, what if something was this way? What if something was that way? What about this experience with this person? Or what if I did that? What if I got married? What if I did, like all those things. Imagine that revved up to the point that it's like, it's all connected. Like you're connecting every aspect of all that, and it's just like, there's nowhere to go with it. And that's why it oftentimes just blurts out, like comes out. Kua kandai ko makrikai shandur makati ni kruma kainda khama khende shandar ni krama koktua makatai shamukrua makainda yamukuya ni kramokutua mashambu kruma khanda tuhomai ni akruma ketua shama. I'm trying to remember what I was talking about before that, but I always say if it's important, it'll come back, but like sadly in this video, it might not come back because I'm so absent-minded sometimes and a little, call it ADHD, whatever you want to say, like. But yeah, I believed that truth, and it was a truth for me in that experience. It was a truth. That delusion was a truth. And I tied all the spiritual experiences I was having with that truth to the point that, like, I didn't feel like I could live on without that being a truth for everyone. In that moment. But I'm glad I'm here now and just living my truth, Nathan's truth. But eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What the fuck was I saying? I don't think you can separate anything about our experience or lived experience from spirituality. There's nothing about what we do in this life that is not an aspect of how we are on an energy level. Everything we do, everything we take in, every music we listen to, every sight we see, every breath we take, every food we eat, every sex we have, everything we do, we're taking in on an energy level that's shifting our heart, shifting our mind, shifting our spirit, shifting us. Like we're an ever-evolving, shifting, coagulating body that's connecting with other bodies and beings on earth and sites, nature. We're connecting in yoga and working out and sports and I was going to say politics, but sadly we're not connecting there. We're connecting on all levels with all beings. And so you can't separate whatever you want to term. I don't like don't really like the term spirituality that much because it's like, what is spirituality? Like a belief in God. What is God? Everyone, might use different names, but we all describe a similar thing, a creator or whatever, But you can't separate that. So every aspect of who you are is part of your spirituality. Even the delusions, like that leads to things that linger, or like, what am I saying? Basically, everything imprints on us. Everything imprints on us in a way that shifts the way who we are, and that who we are is how we connect spiritually with whatever we are in nature, of soul, whatever. So you can't. What I'm saying is you can't separate it. Anything from spirituality, in my view. Like now, I think there's a very distinct difference between spiritual experiences and delusions. For me, in my experience, I had both happening at the same time through the psychosis and mania. So it's like, harder. It was harder for me to decipher and also come back from. But I've had spiritual experiences like when I was in high school on a mission trip or on houseboats trip, singing worship, doing stuff like that, and meditation, doing meditations and having like visual experiences. Not visual, like I don't want like, I always try to seek out like these insane visuals. That's why I try to, do psychedelics and stuff. But it can be overwhelming, and like when I say visual things when I'm meditating, it's very subtle. Kind of like you're imagining an apple. Like that, vibrant, but you feel it in your body, and it's like, it's just coming to you, those visuals, and it's like, that's a spiritual experience to me. So I think that's different than a delusion, right? Because that's showing me, oh, Sadie, let me see that. Sadie, come here. I know, it's a bagel. It's a bagel. Winnebago. Good girl. She always brings it down. Like, she'll always bring it down, and no one's here. She'll rip into it and eat it. But, anyways, I do think there's a difference between those like types of spiritual experiences. Even like deja vu, you might call spiritual, or breath work. When you do breath work, bro, that shit's like, sorry, that junk's like, that stuff's like pretty up there for spiritual experiences in my experience. But yeah, that's definitely certainly different than delusions like the CIA is out to get me and stuff like that, But even that, I do think everything serves a purpose. So I don't know. I'm also not the person to answer this question. I think that's good.